I am Kelly, a giga. I am not a soldier and I don't carry a rifle. But every day, through the weapon of a camera and a notebook, I am motivated with the unbearable need to tell the truth. But this time, it's a journey that is taking me to the front lines, and by that I mean Nigeria's northeast region. The Bay states of Borno, Adamawa and Yobe have been grappling with a severe humanitarian crisis since the 2009 Boko Haram insurgency. 16 years after, the insurgency has led to widespread displacement, food insecurity, and protection concerns. This is my third visit to Maiduguri, but never have I visited an IDP camp.
So this is the Maiduguri airport and we're having to steal some of the shots here. We're actually making our way to Bama, one of the communities which have been ravaged by Boko Haram insurgency. It's a daring trip to make. But gratefully, we're having to make that trip by air because we understand going by road is really unsafe. Come with me. Let's go. Let's go.
As the rotor blades roared to life, slicing through the heavy morning heat of Maiduguri, dust spiraled upward in a frenzy, veiling the tarmac in a brief and gritty haze. The chopper shuddered, then lifted with a deviant's grace, rising above the scorched rooftops and rust-colored earth. And after 30 minutes, we arrive in Bama. The air here is different, but the town, like many others, is filled with hope, dreams, and challenges. We are met not just by its streets or buildings, but by a small group of young people whose futures hang in the balance. Located on the border with Cameroon, the town carries whispers in Kanuri, Hausa, and Shuwa Arabic, languages older than memory itself. It was once a prosperous commercial center, but has been significantly impacted by conflict and population displacement. Bama is the second largest town in Borno State and was repeatedly attacked between May 2013 and September 2014. These tents is home to thousands of those displaced, and it's a massive overflow from the GSSS IDP camp, which is our destination. Finally, we arrive at the government senior secondary school, Bama, which is the largest IDP camp, providing shelter for at least 115,000 IDPs impacted by the Boko Haram insurgency since December 2017. The camp, a collaboration between the Nigerian government and humanitarian partners, plays host to a large population and is a focal point for humanitarian assistance, including nutritional programs and efforts to improve the well-being of its residents. But with global humanitarian funding facing sharp reductions, conditions here have worsened significantly. This displaced population faces daily battles from food shortages to lack of clean water. Basic health care and medicines are also a luxury, like this facility for children with formal education far from their reach. I meet with this camp official who talks me through what it takes to access food items in the camp.
So what's this place?
I think this is our distribution ground where we carry out our distribution activities. So this is the entrance gate.
So for the entire camp, this is where you get to distribute
this is
relief materials, food materials as
food
well.
material actually, because this is a food FSL, the food security. So anytime we are doing distribution, we have the outside this place is the primary distribution waiting area where the beneficiary waits outside there. Then this is their entrance before they now move to this place for verification.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to clear them first here.
Yes, they need to be cleared here, then they will come here for second verification.
Okay. And when you say verification, walk us through some of the criteria you look out for.
I think they have their scorecard. There's the scorecard which they use. Their entitlement is contained in that scorecard. So once they come with it, they now go there and verify if there is voucher in your scorecard. Then they will now print a slip for you to collect your fee.
So every internally displaced person right here in Bama has a scorecard.
Yes, most of them have a scorecard. The beneficiaries have a scorecard.
Beneficiaries.
Yes, yeah.
And without that scorecard, they cannot gain access.
They cannot gain access. No, if you don't have the card, you cannot come. That is, you are not benefited in WFP intervention. Let's go there and see the verification process.
Great.
So this is the verification and table. This is the machine which they use. This is the electronic card which contains their entitlement and the beneficiary information. This is what they use. Then their entitlement is in it. Then they will now print a slip to ensure then they will now go to collect their food.
This works regardless of
Yes.
whether there is internet or not.
Yes, it's offline.
Offline.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're educated or not. The process has been simplified such that even for people who are in this kind of environment, they're able to know how to go through this. Because I see that they have to perhaps thumbprint.
Yes, it has a thumbprint, and this place is an interface, and this is a thumbprint where they thumbprint, because everybody with the card has been captured with their biometrics. So they will come in and thumbprint, then they'll now print their slip for them and give them to collect their entitlements. That's just it.
How often does this happen? Let's say, how often does this happen, especially for people who have large families?
Now, even if you have large families, I think everybody has is information here with the family. It contains, if you are 10, it contains 10 of you in the family. If you just only you, it contains one of you. If you are 9, if you are 5, it contains one. That's how it is. Yeah.
Families here queue for hours under the sun and in the rain, hoping not to return empty-handed. After passing the verification process, Falmata Ali collects her food ration, a simple bundle of beans, sorghum, salt, and vegetable oil. She's called this camp home for the past 2 years. Calm and gracious, Falmata welcomes me into this modest tent she shares with her husband and their 4 children. A space that holds both the weight of their journey and the resilience that keeps them going.
I live in fear, especially when my husband and children go to farm. We are mothers, fathers, children, people who once lived in peace with our homes, our farms.
Scarred by the conflict in the region, Ina Ghana tells me how her first and second husband were adopted.
The conflict took everything from us. Our villages were attacked, our homes burnt, and we were forced to flee with nothing but the clothes on our backs. Today, many of us have been living in IDP camps for years. We are tired.
And ya salam zana kusa ya kanastin saisi umbu saisi yerwa ide a salam zana.
Like Ina, Yana Ibrahim also lives here with her family, but she's not among those receiving food assistance from the WFP. She tells me that the spot of Tuodawa is dinner for her family of 15, adding that most days their only meal is a thin porridge stretched to feed everyone.
We are hungry. Our children are getting sick, and the little we have is not enough. Please do not forget Bama. Do not forget our suffering. Let the world hear our voices. We are Nigerians. We are human beings. We want a future for our children. We want peace.
And outside the IDP camp, we visit one of the stabilization centers situated inside the General Hospital in Bama. Here, more concerns loom. Children with sunken eyes and skeletal frames lie quietly on narrow hospital beds, their mothers watching helplessly. The staff, though committed, are overwhelmed with limited supplies and an unending stream of new arrivals. As we depart Bama for Maiduguri, the city center, Our next stop is the El Miskin IDP camp in Jere, which plays host to 1,551 households and 7,140 individuals. This camp isn't recognized by the state government, and so we have come here privately to see how life is for the dwellers.
These children find themselves in an informal camp. It's an IDP camp, but not recognized by the Borno State government. And what that means or entails is that these children here, their mothers, their fathers, and their siblings are not entitled or privileged to humanitarian support from international organizations. And that is devastating.
There is a significant population displacement with approximately 2.3 million IDPs recorded by the end of 2024, including an estimated 260,000 individuals who have fled to neighboring states. Borno State hosts the majority of IDPs in Nigeria, with data around 1.7 million and returnees at 886,000, reflecting its critical role in the ongoing humanitarian response. Meanwhile, Adamawa State accommodates 868,000 returnees, accounting for 41% of the total 2.1 million returnees across the Bay States. Trond Jensen is the head of the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Nigeria and is resident in the epicenter of the humanitarian crisis. He tells me he has witnessed over 15 crises, but says these numbers are terrifying.
So we have what we call the Cadre Harmonisé, which is the food security assessment that we undertake every year with the government. And that stipulates that there are 31 million people who are food insecure in Nigeria. But it only covers 26 states, so it could be up to 40 million people who are food insecure. Even more alarmingly, there are 15 million children in Nigeria who are acutely malnourished. Now, if you come to the north, there are roughly 2.5 million children who are severely acutely malnourished. And that means that if they get an infection, the immunity systems are compromised, and that means that that becomes then a life-threatening situation. So across Nigeria, we estimate that the lives of 420,000 children are at risk of dying. So those are horrific figures, as you will well understand. And I understand that you have seen some of the stabilization centers that we are running across the north. And so you will have seen the grief, the trauma that the families and these children are then going through.
Mr. Jensen wants the Nigerian government to show more leadership, warning of possible consequences.
Of course, we're working with the government, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, the Nigeria Emergency Management Agency. We're working with state governments to address this crisis. Of course, what we're finding is that there's a resources shortfall, and we are looking for government leadership. We are looking for government resources to cover the gap of some of the funding that we have lost since the beginning of the year. As the international community, we are roughly at a third of the resources we had at this time last year. And that means that the facilities that we are using to treat children, they are disappearing because the resources are not there. These are facilities that we run with the government. What we're also seeing is that the supplies that goes into these facilities, the pipelines, are breaking. So the nutrition pipeline is coming to an end next month, just around the corner. And likewise, our food partners will be running out of food come October. So it's a really, really drastic situation. It is an unfolding catastrophe. And of course, the biggest fear we have is the loss of life. The loss of life of malnourished children, the loss of potentially of people then from not getting the food they need. Secondly, what we are seeing is that there are huge protection concerns. So when people run out of food, and I don't know whether you were able to speak to people when you visited Burma.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and what you are seeing is that mothers will, in some instances, they will sell their bodies for sex to be able to feed their children. Children will no longer be in school, they'll be out begging, hawking. What we are seeing is that when parents cannot afford to feed their children, they will marry them off, so that there's one mouth less to feed. But we're also then seeing that, and you will have seen in a place like Burma, it's surrounded by protective trenches. As people become more and more vulnerable, they will take greater and greater risk. And unfortunately, what we are seeing is that when people go out to try to farm or eke out a livelihood outside those protective trenches, they will get attacked by Boko Haram. They will be abducted, killed, and women and girls exposed to sexual and gender-based violence.
Next, we meet with Ahmad Usman Jaha as a representative of the Damboa, Goza, and Chibok federal constituency, a region that has been severely affected by the Boko Haram insurgency.
I'm seriously worried because I know what happened in the past. My local government was overrun in 2014 by Boko Haram, and it took the Nigerian army a serious effort to recover that particular local government headquarters. As I'm speaking to you now, I have 13 political wards. Only 3 or 4 wards are relatively peaceful or safe for somebody to stay. The remaining 9 wards are completely under the occupation of Boko Haram. Take it or leave it. And the same thing applies to other local governments I'm representing, especially Damboa. Damboa, you cannot vouch of 2 political wards, 2 complete political wards that are safe. The remaining 8 political wards are still under the occupation of Boko Haram. Nobody can venture 5 kilometers, in fact 3 kilometers away from the local government headquarters for farming or any economic activity. So I am worried by the time I have seen some resurgence. Even last week, I lost people in Chibok. On the other hand, for me personally, I'm happy that the US have cut the funding so that our people cannot be over-relying on aid from donor agencies, UN agencies, INGOs, and other development agency bodies. We believe in ourselves. We are farmers by our nature. If government can provide an enabling environment for us to go back to farm, we don't need any food from either WFP or FOA or any of the UN agencies, because we can feed ourselves.
The humanitarian crisis in Nigeria's northeast region requires sustained attention and support. Addressing the needs of affected populations, particularly women and children, is crucial for promoting stability and peace in the region.
Nearly 31 million people are currently facing acute hunger. And that's according to data from the United Nations World Food Program. That also demonstrates the scale of the humanitarian crisis in the northeast region.